Hello, welcome to Zigmatech Learning Hub. I'll be your instructor for government. For this class, we are going to be taking our exercises from the ExamGuide app. If you don't have the application already installed on your device, I want you to download the app in order to follow along in this class. ExamGuide is a leading educational app that helps students prepare adequately for various exams like UTME, post-UTME, WEAC, GCE, KCPE, IJMB, JUPEB, Calbipedia, BESE, SSCE, NCEE, NECO, etc. You can download the app from www.examguide.com or Google Play Store. Please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to be updated on new videos. Ready for today's class? Okay, let's get started. We have discussed government as an institution of the state. This time we're going to look at basic concepts in government, related concepts about the state. Now, specifically, by the end of this lesson, we should be able to state the characteristics of a state, the meaning of a state, the characteristics, meaning of a society, the characteristics of society, and a nation. So, at the end, you should be able to know the differences between these three main concepts. Now, what is a state? Meaning of a state. A state is a politically organized group of people inhabiting or living in a defined or definite geographical area with a government who makes and applies laws within a territory without any form of external influence. So we are talking about this group of people, we're talking about a group of people that are politically organized, and these people are inhabiting a particular territory, a particular geographical area, and there is a government set up to make and enforce law with any coercive means it cares to employ without any form of external aggression. So meaning that for any organization, any group to attain statehood, it must be free from any form of external interference or influence. Now, for us to understand the states better, and I must tell you that state in government is what people normally refer to as countries. So in government, the basic term is state, and that's why we say government is an institution of the state. Now let's look at the features of state, the characteristics that make up a state, defining features. One is what we call sovereignty. Now sovereignty refers to the supreme power of a state to make and enforce laws within its territory without any form of external influence or interference. Meaning that the state has the right or power to take any decision that affects members of the state in the territory. And no other country or international body has the right or the power to stop them from whatever they want to do within its territory. But this power does not go out of that territory. That is sovereignty. The second one is population. Every state is inhabited by people, and the people that make up or inhabit this state is what we refer to as the population of the state. Now, another feature of the state is defined territory. Now, this is the area that make up the states, as can be seen in the map. Now, if you look at this of West Africa, you can see Nigeria. This is the area that make up Nigeria, as can be seen in the map. It's defined territory of Nigeria. This is Niger. Defined territory of Niger is this. This is Burkina Faso, defined territory of Burkina Faso. This is Ghana. This is the defined territory of Ghana. So every state is located in a defined area. Now, every state has what we call government. Now, it's a body set up to administer the affairs of the state, to refer to what we did in government as an institution and government as a process of governing. So government is that body that is set up legally by the state to administer and run and manage the affairs of the state in the interest and the welfare of the people of the state. Another feature of the state is permanence. Now, a state is fixed in nature and it does not change with change in government. Now, the government will always come and go. Military regime, civilian regime, and even the civilian after election, they will change. But the state remains there. You can see the map of the world. You can see every state they are there. Many governments over centuries have come and gone, but the state remains there. So it's not affected by the change in government. Now, another feature, essential feature of the state is what we call recognition. Now, every state is accorded, that status is accorded as such by international organizations and other states. So internationally, the state is recognized as such that it is a state, it's independent and can carry out its external relations without any form of interference. So these are the features of the state. Now, it is important we distinguish between state and government. Let's look at the differences between state and the government. Number one, the state, as we have seen, is permanent in nature. It does not change with change in government. It's fixed. Now, the government is transient, meaning that government is susceptible to change. Example, in many democratic countries, you find out that every 4 years, there will be a new government. There will be a change in the government. This is not so as a state. The second one is a state is a territorial association of people with defined boundaries. Now, government, on the other hand, is the administrative institution of the state. In a state, the third one is there is compulsory membership. That is, everybody must be a member of the state. The members of the state are compulsorily members of the state, except you follow a process of citizenship acquisition to renounce your citizenship in a particular state and become a member of a particular state. So, while that of the government, membership, being a member of the government, is voluntary. It's not by force. There are people that even if you dash them president, they will not be president of the country. They will not like to be. So it's voluntary. It's by choice. But state is not by choice that you become a member of the state, because even we have what we call membership by birth. So it's natural. But that of government is choice. Now, in government, the government is a larger entity. It's a broad entity. The state is a larger entity, while the government is relatively small and a part of the state. The state itself is sovereign, has absolute power to make and enforce laws within its territory without any form of external interference or control, while the government itself is not sovereign. It is the state that has that sovereignty, not the government. Now, a state, every state has identical features. That is, in every state you must see government, you must see territory, defined territory, you must see that recognition, you must see population and sovereignty. Then, if you go to government, government differs from state to state. You may go to this country and see unitary government. You go to another one, you see presidential, you see federal, you see presidential, you see parliamentary. You also see another form of government, even the military. So it differs from state to state, but states is one unique element, identical features. Also, the state possesses a constitution or legal status, while the government enforces the constitution or the laws of the state. But the state has constitution and legal status. Then the state is abstract in nature, in the sense that you can't go and touch it and say, this is the state. The state manifests in its features and characteristics. Why government itself is tangible. You can touch the government. You can see members of the government and go and touch them and say this is the government. You can point finger, but the state is more abstract, more imaginary in nature. Now, so these are the differences between the state and the government. Now, for us, we are going to look at another concept related, at times used interchangeably with state, and that is the society. What is the society? Is it the same as state? Now, the society is a group of people who share similar values, laws, and traditions, living in an organized community for mutual benefit. Also, we define it as a collection or group of people who are brought together and held together by internal relationships among themselves in order to achieve a common goal. Now, every group you come in contact with is a society. The church, even in the church, we have societies in the church. Political party on its own is a society. We have international society like Red Cross is a society on its own. The state itself is also part of the society you see. So society, like we say, is a collection of group of people who are brought together by the goals they want to achieve. Now, let's look at the features of a society. Now, societies are controlled by rules and regulations, norms and conventions. Every society has its own rules and regulations, has what it calls its norms, the right thing, and conventions. Also, every society applies sanctions on its members to ensure discipline. No matter the society, they have a way of applying sanction penalty to make sure that members are disciplined and work towards the goals of that society. Every society has rules and regulations that are binding on all members. Also, society is there is voluntary membership in societies. There is voluntary membership. Then society is permanent in nature. It does not change. It's always there. Then membership depends on one another in the society for survival, especially in communities. Now, there is dynamic rules by members. Every member has rules in the society, and these rules can change from time to time. The rules performed by every member of a society. Then, a society is characterized by cooperation, competition, and conflict. You always see cooperation among members. You always see competition for especially scarce resources in the society. You always see disagreements in societies. Now, every society usually have common history, tradition, language, and sense of value. You must see one or two of these elements in every society. Now, let's look at the differences between society and the state. What are the differences? Are they the same? Though at times they are used interchangeably. But let's look at the differences. Now, the state has compulsory membership. It is a must. Members can't help being members of the state. But society has voluntary membership. Example, the Red Cross. It's voluntary. You must not be a member. Then, states have territories, defined territories, while the society does not have defined territory. Many societies cut across different states. Example, can you say what's this territory of Red Cross? No. Amnesty International, it has territories all over the world. So different societies, they don't have territories. Roman Catholic Church is a society. It does not have territory. You see it in every state you go. So why states have territories? Now, a state is a political organization, primarily, strictly a political organization. Now, the society is not political. Even some of them are called non-governmental organizations. Now, obedience on the state is achieved through force because the state has the power of sanction and uses instrument of force where necessary. Now, obedience in society is primarily based on customs and traditions. You have to resort to the traditions to enforce obedience. Now, a state is well and always organized. Society may not always be well organized, and that is why there are societies that may fizzle out with time. Now, state is concerned with relationship through the government. All relationship through the government is the concern of the state. Now, the society is about the whole life of man. And that is why at times man finds himself invariably in more than two societies. Because it has to do with your family, society is there, the kindred is there. So many societies are about all the whole life, all the aspects of life of man, even the school. You see different societies. So it's about the whole life of man. Now let's look at another concept, related concept, that is nation. What is a nation? At times we say that this thing we call countries, the states, they are nations. Now let's look at the strict sense of what a nation is. Now, a nation is a community of people with shared customs, traditions, language, religion, territory, and history. Now, these are people that are united by common customs and traditions. So in a nation, what you call a nation, you're expected to see that these people have the same traditions and customs. You are expected to see that these people have the same language. They speak the same language. You expect to see that these people have, in most cases, the same religion. They live in the same territory, and they have the same history. These are the common features of a nation. And you begin to ask, why do we call states like Nigeria a nation? United States and many other countries. Actually, we don't have nations in the strict sense of it. Because if you go to every state, you see different nations that make up the state. If you go to United Kingdom, you see it's a country that merges different nations. You see Scotland, you see Wales, you see Ireland, you see England, and also you see Ireland. You see all of them, they make up the United Kingdom. Now let's look at the differences between a nation and a state. Now, state has defined territory. That is, this is where it is located and it must be there. On the other hand, nation may not. The territory of a nation may not be defined because you have people of the same nations in different countries. Example, the Jews, you can see them in Israel, you can see them in the United States and different countries. So nations may spread beyond a particular geographical area. Now, a state usually has sovereignty. Before you talk about statehood, there must be sovereignty. Now, a nation may lack sovereignty. Now, this is because nations may be in a state, and each of them will lack that sovereignty because it's only the state binding them that has that sovereignty. Now, also we have what we call the fact that a state may have what we call heterogeneous population. Now, the population may be heterogeneous, now meaning that we have diverse persons in that particular state. While on the other hand, a nation may have or must have a homogeneous population. You have only one particular people with history, tradition, religion, language making up a nation. Now, in a state, you may not see that. Now, a state has recognized legal entity. A nation does not have recognized legal entity. It's not treated as such. So, Nigeria can initiate legal proceeding. Nigeria can sue and be sued internationally. But you can't talk about a particular part of Nigeria, or maybe the Yorubas or the Hausas or the Igbo, one of them, to single out and sue a particular country. No, you can't do that. So it does not have that legal status. Now, a state has geographical boundary that differentiates it from other states. It does not cross there. While a nation may spread beyond a boundary. Now, let's take a practice on our exam guide, SSCE. Now, on what we have done. Now, we click government, select year at random. Now, we select topic of interest. Now, we are going to take basic concepts in government. Now, this one has to do with basic concepts and principles. No, I will not highlight this. I remove this. Now, I'm taking this elements of government, state structure and characteristics of government. This is close to what we are doing. So let's look for questions that relate to what we just did. Now, we get started. Now, by comparison, a state is A, more changeable than government? No, it's government that changes. More permanent than a government? Less permanent? Equally permanent with? No, it's more permanent. That's what we did as a feature and also difference between the state and government. Now, which of the following is not a feature of a state? We talked about government as a feature of a state. We talked about territory as a feature of a state. We talked about sovereignty. We didn't talk about mass media. That's the answer. A unique feature of a state. A, anarchy, lawlessness, no. Direct democracy, they must not do direct democracy. Organized law, information, of course, organized law. Looking at sovereignty, the power to make and enforce laws. And we say that a state is legally recognized. Now, which of the following is not an aim for the existence of a state? A, maintenance of external relations. A state aims to maintain the promotion of economic independence, promotion of common lingua franca, provision of welfare services. Now, a state will want to maintain external relations. A state will want to promote economic independence. That's not to depend economically on other countries. A state will wish to provide welfare services, but it's not a primary preoccupation of the state to provide a common lingua franca. Thank you for participating in today's class. You can practice more questions using the ExamGuide app. The app scores and gives a detailed explanation of all questions at the end of your practice tests. You can learn a particular topic of interest with different modes like study mode, mark mode, and the practice mode. It also has other features that make learning fun. It is a must for all serious students. Download from www.examguide.com if you don't have it yet. See you in the next class. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and share the videos to people that benefit from it. Bye.